So this is Tabia, and today I've made some research on whether or not you can bring knitting needles to an airplane. It's only 4 days to Christmas Eve, and many of you are probably going away to see some family, and I myself have, when you watch this, I have just arrived at my parents' place in Germany, and I took the airplane there. So I know that a lot of people are often wondering if knitting needles are allowed in the hand luggage or not, and I have checked out the rules for some countries, and then I have some tips and tricks for you as well. First off, I have checked at the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration in the US, and on their webpage they have a list with items and whether or not they're allowed. And for knitting needles it says carry-on bags yes and checked-in bags yes. So the rules say that you can bring the needles in the cabin. Transportstyrelsen, the equivalent in Sweden, even they have a list, and knitting needles, crochet needles and even tapestry needles are allowed. Even in the UK, on the government webpage it said that knitting needles are allowed. However, when I went to Edinburgh earlier this year, on their webpage it says that you can't bring them. So even though the overall rules for the UK says that it's allowed, it can differ from airport to airport. And finally, I've checked the rules for the European Union, and they have a list with items that are not allowed, and it doesn't say anything about knitting needles. The only thing that it says, in case you want to bring your scissors, knives with blades of more than 6 centimeters are not allowed to bring. So if you are bringing scissors, then it should be really small ones. So in general, knitting needles seem to be allowed at most of the places, but it's always up to the security guard at the airport to say whether or not they think that a certain item is a threat or can be used as a weapon. So even if you have small scissors that under these 6 centimeters and you're just flying in the EU, like I'm from Sweden to Germany, then it's not really sure. So scissors I personally wouldn't take, because the risk that they would take them is quite high. So I have a few tips and tricks when you are planning to travel by airplane. First one is, even though if you have checked the rules of the country, check with the airport. So you can go onto the website, and there you would have to check with both the one that you are flying from, but also with the one from the destination, because most likely when you're going on holiday you're going to have to get back as well. And then imagine if you had worked on your project the whole vacation, and then you're coming back and you're not allowed to take it. Second tip, use blunt or wooden needles, because as I said, if the security guard thinks that your knitting needles could be used as a weapon, then they can take them away. So the more unthreatful your needles look, the better it would be. Another tip, in case you would use circular interchangeable needles, then in case you are not allowed to take the needles on the airplane, then you can just take off the tips and leave the tips, but you still can have your cable in the project, so you don't have to rip it all out and risk that some of your stitches will get lost and laddered down. If you have circulars, I've also read that you can bring an envelope with an address addressed to yourself, and then in case you have to put off your tips, then you can send them back to your home address, although I've never tried if that works, and if you're really in a hurry, then it will be maybe a little bit stressful to have to search after a mailbox. And in general, maybe if you have signature needles or whatnot, maybe don't bring your most valuable needles if you're worried that they're going to take them away from you. Also, when you're using interchangeables, what you could do is that you put off the tips and put them with your pens, and then it doesn't really show so much on the camera, although maybe it's not, if you want to be really sure, that's maybe not the way to go anyhow. When you're going on holiday and know that you're going to be away for a longer time, you can also have an extra pair of needles in your checked-in luggage. So in case that you're not allowed to bring them in the cabin, then you at least have a pair of extra and you don't have to search for a local yarn store the first thing when you arrive. And final tip, although I haven't really tried it yet, but I love the idea, bring a little box of dental floss, because they have this little blade on it for cutting the floss off. You can use that one for cutting off your yarn in case you have yarn that you can't break, like most wool yarns you could just break. But if you can't, you can use the dental floss. These were all of my tips and tricks. Personally, I'm flying quite a lot from Sweden to Germany, back and forth, and I've never had any problems, but I guess it depends which country you are flying to and from. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you are having the loveliest of holidays. Do a lot of knitting, eat all of the food, spend some time with your family and your loved ones, and I will see you next week. Until then, Merry Christmas, happy knitting, and bye bye!